Cowboys Nation, as the Cowboys have found their defensive coordinator. This emergency pod is brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. Use the code DLLS to get the hookup over there. Make picks, have a good time, win the money. And our friends at Ownwell, ownwell.com/Texas. Don't pay more than you need to for property taxes, okay? I'm Jeff. That's Clarence Hill. The Cowboys have made their decision on defensive coordinator. Clarence Hill, take it away.
I mean, this is about Shotty. You know, I asked Jerry, you gonna let Shotty hire your own guy, right? You gonna let Shotty hire your own guy? We always just a collaborative effort. No, this is a Shotty. Shotty's been running the point on his defense coordinator search since the beginning. You look at, they canvassed 9 guys, wide net. And to end up with Christian Parker, the Eagles defensive passing game coordinator, 34 years old. He joined the NFL just 7 years ago as a quality control coach. You're talking about a meteoric rise up the ranks. Young guy, a Vic Fangio clone, and of all the hand-wringing, what are they waiting on? Maybe they're waiting on Leonhard. No, they're not waiting on Leonhard. They're waiting. They got their guy. They went and hired their guy, and this is a guy he was actually interviewed for the Saints defense coordinator position last year when Kellen Moore took the job. He certainly has gotten interest from other teams, including the Packers this year. The Cowboys went and got their guy. They didn't wait. They didn't roll the dice. We like him. He was impressive. We're going to get a guy, again, a young guy, Vic Fangio clone. He's getting, going back to Denver. He was with Vic Fangio in Denver. And now he's back, he's with the Cowboys. I mean, this is surprising, shocking to a certain extent. But don't we like it? Don't we like it?
Well, here's the secret, Clarence. I reserve the right to retroactively hate anything that I so choose if it doesn't work out great. But from what I know at this point, I like it. I like that it's not a retread, that the Joneses know, who said, we hired this defensive coordinator because, boy, his daddy. I sure do like his daddy. You're talking about a coach who made his own way to this. From college ranks, up the college ranks, to the NFL ranks, to when he worked with Vic Fangio, and Vic Fangio ended up somewhere else. He wanted this guy with him. So far, I really like it. I like that it's a young coach. I like that it's not a retread. I don't need a former head coach. I like that if you interviewed 9 people, Christian Parker clearly impressed. And I like that he's coming from Philadelphia, honestly. That's just a little bonus for me, is that you're coming from the division rival, who's the team that we need to track down. So far, I love it. Now, I reserve the right to hate it at any moment if the defense doesn't play well. Today, I like it.
The Eagles are falling apart. It's part of your agenda, Jeff. It's part of this helps the Eagles fall apart. Quinyon Mitchell, all the things it was because of Parker. Now Parker's there, they're going to fall off.
That's right. I like that. Yeah. Now I think one of the things that I think is really challenging in the NFL, like Vic Fangio is a very respected defensive coordinator. And to be a guy that worked underneath him and was the pass game coordinator for him at multiple different stops, I think speaks well in terms of what everybody's going to think about this guy. I like the ability to relate to your players as well as you can. I think a coach needs to have the ability to be a leader, but also be able to communicate. And I think when you're closer to players' ages, that's a good thing. The one thing I think you never know until a guy is incredibly established is like, how much credit do you get for XYZ, right? So the Eagles last year, he's the pass game coordinator. They were a top 5 pass defense in yards. They allowed the least passing touchdowns. Quinyon Mitchell and
Cooper
DeJean, having those 2 corners, like how much credit do you give the guy who is responsible for that position group when the players are really, really good? I don't know. I believe when they are asked about him, they do speak glowingly, which is that's 2 players higher than from our last defensive coordinator over the course of an entire season. I don't think anybody ever had a quote on the record about what a great job their coach did. So for this day, Clarence Hill, I will say I am pleased. Not a perfect search. The perfect search involves talking to everyone on the market, including the very best that are in the most demand. They didn't do that. But At least they cast the Clarence Hill wide net, and the name that they came up with is coming out of a coaching tree that I like and I respect. And it's a young guy, and it's a guy that clearly impressed you in an interview process that's coming off of good results with who he just coached, that seems to have earned it the whole way. We're not nepotism in this thing. We're not hiring our buddies. I'm good. I'm good, Clarence Hill. I'm good for today.
Here's a guy who played college football at Richmond, started at two black colleges, started at Virginia State and Norfolk State. So the black college background. Then he went to Notre Dame as a defensive analyst, then A&M for 1 year as a defensive analyst before going to Green Bay as a quality control coach for 2 years. Then he went to the Broncos. Then he went to the Eagles, and now he's with the Cowboys. So again, a young guy, never called plays before, but clearly somebody likes this guy. Somebody, that he's a bright guy. Again, and when we talked earlier, we talked about short leash with Shoddy. Does this give him a longer leash? I mean, you come out a 34-year-old guy, right? Calling plays the first time. We can't expect things to be perfect next year. Okay. We talked about play. We need ready-made players. We're trying to win next year. Well, you hire a 34-year-old defense coordinator who's never called plays before, a passing game coordinator. You got to allow him some growing pains too, don't you? You got to say, if Shoddy's hiring this young guy, then Shoddy's not on the hot seat next year. I'm just telling you, can't put him on the hot seat next year unless they go 0-16. Then we're talking a whole different deal. But 0-17, my bad. It's the 17 game. And then at some point it's gonna be 18. But no, seriously, you got to. This gives little leeway here that this is a 2-3 year thing here with Shoddy and Christian Parker, not a 1 year thing.
And maybe that's how it fits in every way. One, you like the hire because I do like the background. I like everything about what I know about Christian Parker. And two, it probably makes sense with your second year, who's in his first time as a head coach, to not have somebody in the room that's a potential threat if things don't go well, to go ahead and take your job. Maybe it lines up in every way. And I think people will like this. Cooper DeJean on Twitter 14 minutes ago, who Christian Parker was coaching last year, said, man, and then a sad face. They got a great one. Wouldn't be the player I am without CP, and then a salute. So we like that. We like that. I'm happy. I'm happy for a day. Jerry, you didn't ruin my day today. I appreciate that. That's good. We don't have to wait around for Jim Leonhard. They're doing what Clarence told them to do. Look, you find a guy you like, hire that dude. There's no reason to fiddle fart. There's no reason to pea foot around. You got a guy that you like, you think it fits, you like where you're headed, go ahead and hire that dude. So welcome to Christian Parker, to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm looking forward to it.
Let's give Jerry some credit. And Jerry said, how we done things in the past, we're not going to do them that way anymore. He said that in that press conference. We're not going to do things that we did them in the past, okay? This is not doing it the way you've done it in the past. This is letting Schottenheimer cook. Let him buy his own groceries. Let him cook. This is change. We got to give Jerry credit for allowing this process to happen.
No.
We got to give him credit. No. Christian Parker is going to be the second black defensive coordinator the Cowboys had behind Brian Stewart, who was coordinator in name only, really, because it was Wade Phillips' defense. This is Christian Parker's baby. This ain't nobody. He's not understudying Fangio or Wade Phillips, a defensive head coach. Everything that happens on this defense is on Christian Parker. He is the coordinator. It will be his scheme. It will be his baby. Let's give Jerry credit for allowing Shoddy to have some vision. He's allowing Shoddy to have some vision, allowing Parker to have some vision, and go get this young guy on the come. He's on the come.
No credit for Jerry. It's a rule of mine. It's like the what was the old stand-up where it's like, that's what you're supposed to do. I'm not going to give you credit just because you didn't screw up again. I'm just going to say that Jerry did this because he's more affordable than some of the other options out there. I refuse to give Jerry any credit. This is what I think about Jerry.
Why not just start the day picking it up?
So congratulations to Christian Parker. Good job to Shoddy. Good job to Will McClay
and Jerry.
Great job to Charlotte Jones Anderson today.
And Steven.
Decent job by Steven.
Good job, Tad.
Good job, Tad. And that's where my list ends. Good job to Clarence Hill Jr., the greatest beat writer in the history of the Cowboys. Oh, we got a super chat in this bad boy? So instead of Leonhard, we get these filthy scraps. Disappointed. See, that's unfair. That's unfair. No, I want to be a team that is in the mix for the young and up and coming coaches. The Cowboys have a tendency to get the old and washed coaches because Jerry knows them or their uncle or their best friend or he went to school with their daddy. No, I think this is way closer to doing it right. So I look forward to seeing what Christian Parker can do. Now go get that man some players.
This is not scraps. Let's not do that. This is not scraps. We're talking about a very good defense in Philly. Been a very good defense in Philly. They didn't want to let him go. This is not like that whole staff got fired, you're taking leftovers. No, this is the guy you identified as one of the bright young coaches in NFL football who's had a meteoric rise through the ranks since he started coaching. Been in the league 7 years, started as a quality control coach, and now he's a coordinator after 7. You know how many long it's taken so many coaches to wait and go through this process to get these opportunities? So this is certainly not about scraps. This is about seeing something, having a vision for the player, as Parcells used to say. They got a vision for this coach.
Yeah, and there's KG's in the super chat. KG, look, you work here. You got to stop donating your salary back to the shows. Fantastic hire. This is a pure Shoddy hire. Happy for Parker. Now it's truly in the front office to get the groceries that Shoddy needs, and Parker needs to make it happen. Go cook with 12 and 20 and free agency. Thank you, KG. And now, speaking of groceries, everybody get your butt to the grocery store, okay? If you're in the DFW area, we're not built for this life, all right? Stock up. Go get you a blanket and some TP and some chili. I bought some chili on the way home, so I'm good to go. Thank you, Clarence. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow at work. Make sure you guys are tuned into the DLLS Cowboys podcast tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We'll have more on all of this. That's Central Time, of course, and we appreciate you. Remember, you have no idea what anybody's going through. Be cool to everybody. We love you. Be easy.
We all silly like the mayor.